everybody, welcome back to the Sketchcraft Shout-Out. Today we're going to be talking about Robin Hood, specifically John-Simon Loche. I hope I got that right. The artist on his book called Robin Hood. And joining me as always today is Uncle Jerk. Hello, buddy.
What's going on, boils and ghouls? Tonight you're gonna watch me wander around like a jackass because I have no idea what we're gonna be looking at tonight.
Right, so sometimes we got historical info to give you, and other times we're just like, man, this was cool, I don't know anything else about it. So if you know anything more about this artist and everything, let me know, because I've looked and I found his LinkedIn and I got info, but there's not a lot of historical data other than just his credits, you know. But there's 3 volumes of this book that he did in 2001 with the writer Baramod. Today we're gonna be covering tome 1, and if you like it, then maybe we'll do tome 2 and 3. Let me know in the comments below. So let me just show you the covers really quick to tome 1, tome 2, tome 3. What I love about this book and what really got me onto this was I spent like 3-4 years in Germany when I was in the army, and then I used to go back every Christmas, you know, for a few years and hang out with friends, and I'd always pick up something new, right? Something I'd never seen before. And this just came across, you know, I was just hanging out at one of the Bahnhofs. I'm like, what is this? And it just had this cross between Disney and manga and like Blizzard Warcraft art, you know? And so I thought this would be an excellent time to walk through some of this Robin Hood by John-Simon Loche. Let me tell you what his current LinkedIn says. So he starts freelancing around 1993. He does this book in 2001. He does another series called Alika, which I will be covering in the future, at least the first volume, so we can show you that, in 2009. And then around 2011 or so, he jumps into mobile gaming, works anything on Ice Age games, Minion games, bunch of stuff. And right now, he's the art director over at King Media for Blizzard Activision and everything. So in the meantime, have you ever heard of John-Simon Loche, Uncle Joe?
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, like, when I was looking into him, the interesting thing that I found out about Loche is that he had, from what I could tell, 3 different, very distinct art styles, and he works under pseudonyms, depending on where in the world he's getting published at. I didn't know if you were familiar with that. Seymour and Loche, and then like Templar, or I believe is his other one. So depending on where he's at, it really kind of impacted his art. And like, I don't know why he had so many pseudonyms though. I never found that out. Like, I don't know if he was, you know, under contract and like publishing. No. He was publishing like in Spain, Italy, and one other place all simultaneously, but under different names. And they all have very distinct art styles. So
what's really cool about this is, and we'll be able to zoom in as we go, is it's traditionally colored. Yeah. So this is like paint, markers, airbrush, I mean, color pencil, the whole bit. I love his digital colors. I think it's amazing. I'm a digital colorist myself. I also do traditional, and this, if you want to see something that this is sort of in the vein of who's that guy over at Heavy Metal who just passed away, dude? Frazzato, right? There you go. Frazzato. You know what Frazzato is?
No, I'm not familiar. I probably know his work. I'm terrible with names.
We're gonna have to cover Frazzato at some point, but it has a little bit of Frazzato in here too. So let's just open it up. What's up, crafties? Spawn Kills Every Spawn, drawn by yours truly, out on shelves now. Issue 1, issue 2, issue 3, and issue 4, all on the stands. Local comic book shop, you can get them, as well as Amazon, everything else. Plus, on December 18th, 2024, issue 5 drops. Oh my gosh, look, I already have it. It's ahead of time. I got it early for the Christmas season, but December 18th, you can grab it too. And don't forget, if you look on eBay and around, you'll be able to find the Spawn Kills Every Spawn sketch cover. I might even have a few in my store soon with some commissions and drawings and stuff. So go in there. And don't forget about the limited to 500 San Diego Comic-Con exclusive edition Spawn Kills Every Spawn issue 1, featuring my line arts. Wouldn't it be cool if they had done all these as secondary covers? But hey, you know, go bother Todd about it. In the meantime, if you want to support me, help pay the bills, please, folks, go to your comic book shop, pick up some Spawn Kills Every Spawn. All right, and now back to the show. Cool little opening page.
And we did a bunch of adjusting on the colors in this, by the way. You'll see there's like a slight, kind of like what looks like a blue tint, maybe. The blues don't look quite like this in the book, but if we adjusted it any other way, you lose a lot of the vibrancy in the watercolors. And like the mixed media approach to this book is one of the things that like really leapt out to me. So like, I thought it was important. If you got beef with it, come talk to Uncle Jerk, because I'm the one who like leaned into this. But look at the I mean, seriously, like look at this. This is absolutely amazing work. We need more traditional work like this. God,
you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna just bring the camera down. Let's see if I can dial.
That's probably a smart call.
Dial it in a little bit better, so you can see like you can see the canvas details here, right?
Yeah.
You can see like all the color, like the pastel or wet or looks like Prismacolor, you know, like highlights here. Like, and then his shape design is very like, you know, Disney mixed with like Warcraft, you know what I mean? Like it has a bit of that going on. But you look at you can see the little the brush strokes here, the gouache or watercolor.
Dude, I mean, like the depth that he gets on the smoke on that fire is incredible.
Yeah, it's got airbrushing on there. It's got I mean, it's got everything. And so like this is where, I mean, this book is, let's see here, how big are we at here? We're at 12 and a half tall by 8 by 12, right?
Yeah.
So, but look at these dragons, dude. These dragons are so fucking dope. These are
basically traditional Euro mag style.
Yeah. Yeah. So you just get,
I just love how like you can see flashes of like Scotty Young and like that dude who's screaming with the teeth with his mouth open there. That's like Glenn Fabry, Simon Bisley, like all day, man. I just love.
This is the Frazado I was mentioning. You can see.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%, dude. And then look at this. Look how good this face is, dude. Look at this.
I love the fluidity of his, like the fluidity of his lines with these chunky angular designs is really interesting, man.
Yeah, and the excellent use of just white highlights, you know? Because I mean, look, when you're doing traditional, there's only so many things you can do to like rim light, you know? And so he's like doing a lot of subtle little white just to give it some topography, you know? So he's not over rendering the characters. Even like digitally, sometimes I feel like people over render shapes, you know? And you lose some of the, look, some of this is a little flat, but I think it reads so well, you know? Like,
I was gonna say, like, I mean, I wouldn't call it flat. I'd call it like simplistic, you know, minimalist.
I myself prefer in storytelling more comic strip style layouts like this, right? This is more of a comic strippy kind of layout to me. Only because when you start to do multiple dynamic angles, which I have done in my own work, sometimes it gets a little in the way, you know? Unfortunately.
Okay. How do you feel about like panel, like grid layouts on pages? Are you like a 6'9" guy, or you just do?
Man, I
like
just
strips?
try never to go beyond like 5 panels if I can avoid it. You know, like, so because the pages are so small, you know, like.
Hey man, I'm curious. I had this like I had like a hatred for 6 and 9 panel grid stuff until I came on to Kriegstein, and now he put 72 he put 72 panels on a page and I could read it. So
my theory is if you arrive at 6, go for 5. If you arrive at 9, go for 8. Always try to trim a panel. But like look at this 8, dude. This is all these little hairs here by pencil, you know? Like, zoom in here.
Oh my god.
Like, look at this, dude. Right? And like right here too. Look at that, it's like Donkey Kong, but like he's just got like a little Apu right there from.
But I love he like knows where to throw in the noodling.
Yeah.
Like look at how simplistic those pants are right next to him. Because most guys would want to over render the shit out of the designs in those pants, and they would go more simplistic with the hair on the ape, like the monkey on his back.
Right.
You know.
Right. And here you can see the pencil here. You know, and look at this, like the use of white highlight here, you know.
Yeah,
Super
you
good.
like it's just you can tell why he went into like games and animation. Like his sense of lighting is absolutely magnificent.
Yeah, and this stuff is like I like this face right here. Look at this.
See, and that's like Fabry. That looks like Fabry Bisley 2000 AD so much to me, dude.
Yeah,
That's
this color is
so
really nice
awesome.
too. The tonal, you know. Look at this guy. I like this guy, dude. Look at the armor, you know, in the hand.
I love how much variation he's got. Like, look at the cartooning on that dude's overbart. Oh, overbite. That's just
Right. Plus, look at the subtle use of atmospheric here on this building. You know, like just
oh
like
yeah.
with the white, you know, and like
I was gonna say that fade, that nice subtle.
yeah, all traditional, man. You know, this horse head is dope, dude. I like this horse head. Look at this
Oh man,
chunky,
that
and
looks
then this
like
guy.
80s, like airbrushed, like Jesus, man.
I'm just super into like, you know, cartooning and like, you know, when I see this stuff, you know, I'm always like, man, it would have been great to get like a Daredevil with something like this, or, you know, I mean, I get like modern American audiences, you know, freak over this sort of thing.
I
But
think we're moving towards an era where we're going to see this. I just hope that the artists are still around to create it, because God,
look at his face.
my
Look at
God,
this guy.
dude.
Look at this guy. This is so dope.
Yeah, this is Metal Hurlant like all day long, dude. This is killer.
And this Robin Hood hat is dope. Like the way it just sticks right out, you know? Right? Like just look at that. It's ridiculous. It's so great.
What do they call those? The plague doctors? He looks like a plague doctor. Hell, like
A little bit. Then we get into like boats. I mean, that draftsmanship is pretty spot on, right?
that looks like a Milo Manara ship, man. That's really well done.
Yeah. I mean, this is where like you see the European comic stuff come right out, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And then look at his little Cromwell looking pilgrim. And he gets. This is dope too. And he loses his finger. But I mean, just look like here, this ship right here, the pencil, the softness of the pencil, the water, you know, very
Yeah,
well rendered.
That's
You know, but with-
Manara. All
Yeah,
day.
and
That's
then
so
and then right
gorgeous.
here, just a group of dudes, not overly done, you know. It's a great lesson in composition, I think.
I love his greens and blues in the faces. Guys who can pull the greens and the blues off with the highlights, just
I mean, this is totally manga too, right? Just the big chibi grin. So awesome. I mean, it would have been awesome, like, you know, during like the DreamWorks era of animation to get, like, you know, they did that Sinbad movie that looked as generic as it could possibly. The lighting was great in that, but the designs were just super generic. It would have been awesome to see something more like this, or even in 3D, you know. But all the pencil work, very well reproduced. Very well reproduced. So this I thought was dope too, because you get these zoom out a little bit here. You get these tonal pages, you know, that have a little bit of like, now it has a little bit of Photoshop added, so you got some lens flares. So
okay. I was gonna ask because
look at
that
that.
looks like
That's Photoshop like 3 or 4.5 standard lens flare. It's hilarious. You know, but other than that, I mean, these dragons are so good, dude. This right here, I love this, man. They can see the cam. I mean, the shape design. I would love to see figures, right?
yeah. This guy seems real like he could definitely design some killer fucking figures, man.
And these orcs are so good, dude. These little goblins. Look at these guys, dude.
Yeah, again with that green and the blue in the face. Hey, you got me.
100%. Look at these nips now. You know, I just the speed lines are awesome too. And this is like almost like Cloud from Final Fantasy VII. The hair, you know, kind of reminds me of
I was
Cloud.
wondering where that's coming from. It's like Cloud Trump.
Well, no, Cloud and a little bit of Link from Link to the Past. You know.
There you go. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
it had the big whatever.
Oh, look at this dude. Look at this homie right here. Like, look at that guy. Like I love this stuff, dude. I love really well designed, stylized figure work. And someone, you know, had recently made a point in the comments that you can lose form with stylized figures and hard to read. And I don't know, man. I think that sometimes it's just your eye, you know?
No, you can, but like that happens when you don't have an understanding of the anatomy or the architecture that you are trying to capture. And you can tell who knows what they're doing. Like if you look at the eyebrows, like the sunken eyebrows on the guy with the big beard right over on that other page, like that's totally unrealistic. Like it's so blown and cartoony and out of proportion. But like if you look at that, you see that it's just like accentuating his sadness, like, you know, this emotion in this one moment, and showing you that he's old and like showing you frailty and sinking him in. And he's able to do the same thing with the sunken large eyebrows and like the protruding brow with the guy on the panel directly above him and make him look menacing. You're not losing any form. You know what I mean? Like you just have to know what you're doing.
It's also a good use of knowing how to like use a lot of half body shots, you know, and close-ups. So you still get, you know, a distance, but a lot of these they're clearly able to read the characters, right? In a manga-like way. I also think too, because this came out around 2001, had Loche, I hope I'm saying that right, or Locke, however you pronounce it. Maybe Locke, but
I'm assuming Locke probably.
If John-Simon had done like an adaptation of Lord of the Rings, right, or The Hobbit at this time, I think everyone would be saying his name right now, right?
Yes.
Right? Like, I think
there's no doubt, dude. Like, I mean, I would kill to see like the Silmarillion or like The Hobbit or Lord of the Rings, dude.
This water is excellent, dude.
I was just getting ready to say, dude, like, because earlier, I mean, his ship composition reminds me a lot of like Milo Manara and a bunch of other dudes from like Heavy Metal, but his water is like really unique. Like it's kind of like it's taking me back to like Illustrator water. No, I don't know if I've ever seen anybody in comics handle water quite like that.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the greens, the blue, there's a little reflection, but it's just so simple, and yet you're like, it's water. Like,
it's real subtle, but you get a lot of like texture. He's got a lot of texture to his water, is what I would say. It feels like really alive.
Look at this little crab, dude. There's a little crab right here.
I love how it's as big as the characters. Like this little hidden thing.
Yeah.
It's like in the foreground. And it's like half as big as any of the characters. That's so fucking awesome. How do you show your perspective perfectly without showing your perspective? Right there.
I like how he's touching the panel too, like the claws just like like
I like how readable his pages are.
It's like, this would annoy an editor, right? Like just like, I love it when people are just like, you got tangents. I'm like, I don't care. Yeah, but everything's super readable, you know. Nothing gets in the way. You don't even need to speak the language to follow.
It's got a really nice like international language. The storytelling. It doesn't seem like really rude. Like a lot of guys I look at and I'm like, oh, you're Italian or, you know, Argentinian, but this is just a mixture, man. This is really cool.
Yeah, I love his mouths, like the upper lip into the jaw lines, you know, and the noses, just so good.
And the next time we saw Chibi spawn.
I know, right? You're like, you just swiped him. Like, you know, this is dope. I mean, 20 years ago, it impressed me. Still impresses me now, you know? Hasn't aged today.
This is more impressive, I think, than it was 20 years ago. There were more guys working, like, traditionally and doing at least stuff. I think we're making at least a swing back to that, but it has been like 2 decades.
Yeah, it's time. Time's the biggest problem with traditional work, you know. But look at all these shapes, you know, just so readable. This is the comic strip. It's like comic strip mixed with manga, and then the rendering of European comics, you know.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if you just like squint it and do like a pullback, this could be a comic strip, right? Right. Forget the rendering. Just look at the shape design. Arrow, arrow, shape. You know. And then it just has this extra level of rendering on top. You know, and another level of 3-dimensionality. You know, that goes beyond what a comic strip would do. You know. But this is the biggest exterior shot we've seen so far. Yeah, I just think like for whatever reason, you know, like this should have been reprinted in like heavy metal, I think.
This looks like it's just too cartoony. Like heavy metal readers wouldn't have taken this seriously.
That's when you go look it up, dude, you'll see what I mean. You know? But
yeah, I don't know how the hell this guy didn't work for at least Metal Hurlon or something.
Right. The dragons are where I get really... If you look, there are very similar dragons to this in Little Witch Academia. This giant underbite. Like, he did it first. But if you go look at Little Witch Academia, they kind of... This is how you... I love this. This is what I love about cartooning, right? When you just hack in and it's just like, it turns into a ham bone from like Tom and Jerry. It's a great shot.
I don't know why I always loved that. That was like one of those things that you saw that was in censored comics, you know, because you couldn't show like a lot of gore, but you could make it look like that. I always loved it.
The ham bone, right? So many of these thin, because of the size, they can do these thin wide panels, you know?
Yeah, that magazine format, that extra little bit really gives you room to play with some unique page layouts.
Yeah.
A lot of times it proves problematic for US reprints because they want to fit it into that traditional comic book style, so you end up like with these weird fucking floating pages. But when they reprint them right like this...
Or they just shrink it down and people complain they can't read anything. But,
well, yeah, they shrink them down and then they have like these weird margins in the pages. Never handled right. Unless they do them like this,
He's got a shaft.
I wondered. I was like, is that a little Ewan shaft? Yeah, like, it's a little goblin shaft there.
He's got a little. I love it. Look at that face. That is excellent. Those teeth, dude. That is so good. And the use of like close-ups to pulling back, you know, not overly dramatic, but just reads so well.
Yeah, no, you're right, man. There is a lot of like floating heads in this. He does a really good job of like knowing how to intersperse the floating head pieces too with other stuff to where it doesn't feel like they're dumping narrative or like you're having to like, oh, I have to convey this emotion right now, you know.
Well, what he's doing, right, that's a little behind the scenes, is he's keeping a lot of characters' geography. So this character is always on the left, right, until there's a transition panel, you know? So he's just keeping the geography of the characters. There's not a lot of, like, flipping back and forth. Like, they call it crossing the lines, you know, like in storyboarding. So he's doing a really good job of maintaining it. Here, that one breaks the panel, which is not too lot of that going on, but yeah, I mean, imagine if he had done like an adaptation of the Zelda stuff, you know. I know. I always go, what if they did a licensed property? But unfortunately, in America, that's kind of how you get noticed, you know. And this is a license. I mean, it's Robin Hood. It's not licensed, but you know what I mean. It is a well-known
internationally. Yeah, definitely.
Right. I just love this hat. This hat is so excellent, dude. It is so good. Every time I see this hat, I'm like, genius. Look at this realistic bird he just throws in there. You know what that was? He was like, tired of cartoons, man. Drawing realistic birds.
Gotta keep yourself entertained, man. A lot of these background paintings, you can tell, like, look at that brick wall. You could phone the shit in out of that thing. Oh no, that's got more rendering than like all the other characters on that fucking page put together.
Yeah.
Like that, God, it's beautiful.
It's kind of up there with Electra Lives Again or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But even this little airbrush gradients on the sky here, excellent, right?
Steve Olaf, that is who I was trying to think of, that this reminds me so much of. Steve Olaf, like Akira, early 90s Steve Olaf. Oh man, okay. Sorry, when you said airbrush, I was like, yeah, it looks like Ken Stacy or Stacy or whatever. And then I was like, no, it looks like Steve Olaf.
Yeah, probably my only critique would just be using, like, he threw in these little lens flares anytime they go to the space, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, whatever.
It was cutting edge at the time, Rob. Come on.
Not in 2001, it wasn't.
I mean, it was fine, whatever. Let's just give him the break. It was cutting edge. Shut up.
This is the last page.
Oh, don't cut me off.
I know.
So how accurate is this to like the source material?
Nothing.
Like the actual.
So, no, there were no orcs in space in Robin Hood. So,
well, no, but I just mean
dragons, like, you know,
like there's like the kind of like Errol Flynn adventurer style take. I've seen like kind of a barbarian style, because this looks almost like barbarian. I don't know. I was expecting more like less sword and sorcery out of the inside of this than looking at the cover.
Right. I need to Google Lens this at some point so I can get a sense of the story. I've never read an English translation, so I could not tell you.
Oh, but, really? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So just art picked it.
Yeah, I just art picked it, bro. You know, I don't speak French. If you're looking to do traditionally painted and colored comics, right? I would definitely splurge on this, because you're not gonna see a lot of this anymore, you know, like executed at this level.
Definitely not.
Right. I mean, like, look at this lighting, dude, you know, like, just, it's so simple, but, you know, the shading, the lighting.
Damn, but the rendering on that carpet is so dope though, man. Like, look at the depth. Yeah. God.
And
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I just
like,
we need
this
more
hand's a little wonky, right? But this is like, this almost could be a cutscene from like King's Quest game or something, you know? Like one of those LucasArts style point and click adventures. I do wish, look, sometimes, man, you run into the situation story wise where they want to reinvent it so much that you don't. Robin Hood seems to be a secondary character here. Like this little Link dude seems to be like the main one, you know? So like, I mean, like I've had that conversation with writers, like, hey, maybe we just stick to the main dude, you know? So we can all, like, because the audiences, they have a hard time, you know, latching on. Like, definitely, like, I like the idea of adding dragons and orcs and stuff to Robin Hood. That's interesting to me. But at the same time, I'm mostly, like, if you do a panel count, it's mostly this little Cloud Link looking dude, you know? Although, funny enough, his hair sticking out is the same shape design as Robin Hood's hat.
I was just looking at that. I'm looking, like, a couple of pages of original art just went up for sale from this Robin Hood series, and a couple of production pieces. So I was looking at like some of his sketches, and like, well, it's funny because in some of his sketches you can see, like, when Robin Hood's got his head tilted back, he's got the Link hair underneath it too. It's like a Wolverine hair concept. Like, what came first, the hair or the hat?
Right. Yeah, save that stuff, and then if we go through volume 2, we can bring it up, you know.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. It's awesome because they just got added last month.
Oh wow.
It's beautiful. There's it's not many, it's only like 10 pages, but just looking at the clarity there, like, even compared to what they got on these pages, dude, holy smokes.
Yeah.
And I can tell you,
This-
looking at this original art, like basically none of this is touched up either.
This right here looks so good. This. Imagine if this guy had drawn like a Highlander adaptation. I know, right? I'm always with the license property. But like, I know the Highlander fans would be mad. It's too cartoonish, but I love cartoons of real action and violence and stuff, you know. So
I'm all about it.
Yeah, it's great. So, anyways, folks, Robin Hood, John-Simon Loche. Definitely pick this one up if you can, and we will join you next time. If you want us to, let me know. I got volume 2 and volume 3, so let me know if you'd like to see more. And as always, you can follow us here on the Sketchcraft channel or at the Sketchcraft Shout-Out channel. Uncle Jerk, any final words?
No, but I guess as always, I do ask, you know, keep reading comics, keep supporting independent creators, guys.
And definitely, by all means, take a trip overseas and just hang out at different train stations and just marvel at the level of cartooning the rest of the world seems to get, because this country is so picky. All right, everybody, we'll see you soon. Sketchcraft out. Peace.
Peace.
What's up, crafties? Make sure you follow me, Sketchcraft, at YouTube and Instagram and everywhere else on socials, as well as Jerk Comics on YouTube and on Instagram and all the other socials. You can also check out my stuff at sketchcraft.com, so you can find my art, and you can buy my stuff at shopsketchcraft.com. If you'd like to get some comics I've made, Spawn Kills Every Spawn, issue 1 through 4 on racks at all your comic book shops right now. Issue 5 out December 18, 2024, and the trade paperback coming to you July 29th, 2025, all the way next summer, but we're gonna have cause to celebrate. Spawn Kills Every Spawn. Go get that right now. Support the old Sketchcraft, and we'll see you next time. Peace.